And we're live. What's up to another edition of just songwriting and hanging out. We're going to try to do this every Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific. Got my good buddy with me, Eric Protzman, well, I was about to say the myth, the legend, but say hey to the people, man.
Good to see you guys. Good to see everybody.
We got Johnny with us. What up, brother?
Hey, Steve and Eric. Good to see you guys.
So before we jump off and get too much in, I just want to let you guys know, welcome. Thanks for being here. 1, 2. Flipside just put out this new song, Into the Deep, and that just hit Friday. So if you haven't seen it or heard it, check it out, share it, love it, repeat. But that's the best way you can support Flipside right now, is just sharing the music. If it means something to you, write us and let us know how it impacts your life. And that's kind of gives us the fuel and the energy to keep on moving and keep on going. Tonight, having my friend Eric, we love kind of that cut from the old school singer-songwriter, Dylan, Guy Clark, John Prine just passed, rest in peace to him. But before I jump into a song and play a Dylan song, and I'll say why I kind of fell in love with it, just tell me a little bit, Eric, like what are some of those songwriters I mentioned? What do you gravitate towards them? What do you like about them, or how did you get introduced to them?
Oh gosh, I think I love them because there aren't really words to capture them. These guys, they just play the whole game above the rim. I mean, they know it just seems like everything they write. Guy Clark's a perfect example. He is such a meticulous songwriter.
Yeah.
Take forever writing a song. A biography I read of him. There's a line in there. There's a playground. She has a playground sense of justice. She won't take odds, is the line.
Yeah.
They get this whole group together to sing all these songs to Guy Clark a couple of years before he died. And I've forgotten who sang the song. It's called Baby Got a Limit on Memphis. And they sing, she's got a playground sense of humor. She won't take odds. And he just exploded. It was entirely wrong. You couldn't do it. You missed a word. And he's so precise in the words that he writes. Dylan stuff just falls out of him. And John Prine, I don't know. How Johnny, how many John Prine podcasts, video casts have been done in the last 2 months?
Not enough.
So that's it. I mean, these guys have changed my life. They're beautiful. They're just absolutely beautiful.
Well, I was thinking about that today. Like, what are some of the reasons that I gravitate towards somebody like a Dylan? And when I was younger, it's the older I get, I think the more it really challenges me as an artist, as a songwriter, as just I appreciate their work each year a little bit more. I think when I was younger, I knew Dylan and I was like, oh yeah, I really didn't dive in. And then Pearl Jam had done a cover of Masters of War. And I'm going to play a little bit of that in a minute. But, Nina Simone said artists should reflect the times. That's not only the job but it's the duty. And I kind of like to think, I hold music pretty sacred. I don't want to, as sacred as I can. You know what I mean? I'm not like a purist, and I'm not probably on this side, but those guys usually are trying to reflect the times, trying to say something that maybe the whole nation may be feeling at that time, and they express it in the right song at the right time, and it really just lands. I was never one to kind of just write, the Beatles wrote a bunch of love pop songs that I love, but I'm just not that kind of writer. I have to they say, write what you know. And I kind of write more of the human experience, the journey, what I'm struggling with, maybe my perception or my perspective on a certain thing. And I have to just kind of write from an emotional, and I'm more of a melody guy. People know I've said this before, Piper's more of our wordsmith, but I think I was drawn in just to, how they reflect their times when and they do it so poetically and so articulate. I'm going to play a little bit of Masters of War, but I love this song too because it doesn't have your kind of verse chorus structure. We're so I think in pop music we're inundated with this, 8-bar hook. You got a verse, and it's like boom, boom, boom. He has basically I would call it, he establishes a melody and it's kind of like a chorus melody, but he just does about 4 or 5 verses. I'm going to do 2 verses, but he never changes the melody. And what that does is it helps you kind of get in this hypnotic, repetitive flow. And it kind of harkens back to probably old spirituals where they just go over and over, and the cadence and the rhythms kind of start to just get deep inside your spirit. And then the words just really start to impact you. So those are Dylan obviously didn't invent that, but he was certainly a guy that helped perfect some of those
Well,
craft tools.
He did it on Masters of War like crazy, but you
Yeah.
go through his catalog. I mean, he certainly didn't. That was not his main style.
No, that was just one.
And he changed style, and his evolution through the years just showed how good he was at doing that. But you're right. There's that cadence that draws you in. It's like every song he writes just draws you in. There's no way to even grasp his mastery of it.
Well, let me try to play a little bit of it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Is the guitar okay, Johnny? Can you a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. You that build all the doors, you that build the dead place, you that build all the walls, you that hide behind walls, you that hide behind death. I just want you to know I can see through your mask. Yeah. You've never done nothing but to build and destroy. You play with my world like it's your little toy. Put a gun in my head and you hide from my eyes. And you turn and run farther when the fast road hits by. I'll do one more verse, set it up. Like Judas of old, you lie and deceive. The world can be won. You want me to believe. I see through your eyes. I see through your brain. Like I see through the water that runs down my drain. Those are some powerful words, man. And I think I don't know the kind of images you guys see, but it's just definitely there's been war from the beginning of time. I mean, that those words in that lyric seems like it could have been written 500 years ago, 200 years ago, 50 years ago. Yesterday, it's a timeless kind of lyric, and it's a timeless idea of there's rise and fall and greed and you know, you could dig deep and write, you know, a book on just those lyrics in that song. But I don't know what you feel or think about when you first heard that song, Eric.
Well, that song was written in '62, so it was really early in his recording career, not long out of Minnesota and into New York. And there was a lot of protest music at that point. One of the huge misnomers about Bob Dylan is that he's a protest singer. You have a very hard time finding protest songs from Bob Dylan.
Right.
And, you know, he's with Joan Baez, and she's, you know, protesting all these things. And there was just this assumption that he was in sync with her, and that he led lots of protests, and as a result, most of his songs are protest songs. And he didn't like any of that.
Right.
He wanted to be a musician. He didn't. It wasn't that he didn't like. It wasn't a political statement.
Right.
You know, how about a guy that goes out and sings every night with his back to the audience? You know, I mean, it's like this is a guy that's doing his own deal. This came out. That was on the Freewheeling album, and there was a lot of things in '62, '63 that were very much of the period. But you slide out 5 years, 10 years, and everybody knows you go every 10 years. Everything he does just absolutely sucks. And then they go back and they listen to it. They go, oh, we didn't get it.
Yeah.
We didn't get it.
Yeah. Had you ever heard that song, Johnny?
No, that one's new to me. But wasn't it Dylan? Wasn't he the one where when he started playing the electric guitar, people didn't like it?
Oh yeah, people booed him.
Wasn't that him?
I think his first couple gigs.
It was a Newport Folk Festival.
Yeah. And they were expecting him to show up with his little acoustic guitar, and
he did. He did for the first part of the set, and he brings out this Strat, a Strat which he didn't care about much. Somebody found it like 10 years later. The Strat that he goes electric with at Newport, where everybody just goes absolutely crazy, and it was just leaning in somebody's closet, and it's absolutely verified what it was. But it is fascinating. If you watch the Rolling Thunder review, you get a really good feel where he's going. I rewatched what was the Last Waltz?
Yep.
About a month ago. Watched it for like the third time, and just watched him play and watched him come alive. Man, this guy is living in a different planet.
Is that the when they followed him around for like the 2 years of touring? It was a lot of the touring with the painted face and the circus.
That's the Rolling Thunder review. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I saw that.
Yeah, and that's
was that? Would you say that was his peak? Was that mid 70s? When was that?
I don't know what you mean by peak. I mean,
peak in terms of like he had ebbs and flows, but he was like the circus was in full effect at that moment. Everybody wanted a piece of him.
I'd say no. I would say everybody fell in love with him hard through the 60s, wanted his folk stuff, wanted all of those first 5 albums.
Yeah.
And then he started changing. But, then he laid down Blood on the Tracks, which may be one of the greatest albums ever written.
Do you remember what he was saying, why he was painted his face? Because he felt like he was just part of the circus, that it was a character
he was being a mime. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you read his interviews, and he just makes up stuff just to screw with you.
Yeah.
I mean, he truly just was and continues to be his own guy right through till today. He released a 17-minute song on JFK about a month ago.
Yeah.
I've forgotten the name.
And I love it. He's still writing and still recording and still putting stuff out. I got a chance to see him at the Greek Theater in Berkeley, probably, if I had to guess, it was probably 04-ish.
Yeah.
And anyways, he's a guy that every year I get a little more admiration for. He still does it. He still writes at a high level. I don't know if anybody has outmatched his just productivity of songs. Like I would 5,000, 10,000 songs. I don't know, but he's
he's probably published. I mean, Guy Clark published somewhere around 170 songs.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan has published somewhere around 1,400 songs.
Yeah.
A lot of songs he wrote in the studio. He wrote them, recorded them. Has no idea how to play them. I mean, they came and they went, and they poured out. I'll tell you this Eliza Gilkison story because Nancy and I were listening to her a couple of years ago, and she goes, "You know what I know about writing songs is if you get an idea in the night, you got to write it down, because if you don't write it down, every song you don't write down remits to Bob Dylan." He gets them all.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Is anybody saying what's up? Does anybody have any requests, maybe any songs you want me to play? A little bit of flip side before I play another one. I know Eric brought us a guitar out. Tell us a little bit about that guitar, and then we'll maybe get into some fans saying what's up.
You've never seen this guitar.
Nice.
Okay.
Dave's going to have you on his show because Dave talks about guitars. So Johnny, are you more of a head guy too? Do you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
yeah, I love guitars.
Be prepared to be really impressed, because I went to India last December with a friend of mine who's a musician, plays with Flipside, right? And
we won't get into that story.
That's a longer story, but I'm in Calcutta, and I go into this guitar shop, and I said I want to buy a local Indian-made guitar, and $70 later.
Wow.
So be prepared to be impressed. I've got this little number here. Okay.
That's cool.
Check the headstock and check the label.
Wow.
Yamaha.
Yamaha.
But wait, there's more.
Yamaha.
There's more.
What does it say? Expert quality?
Export.
Export quality.
Sorry, I wouldn't have it if it was expert quality.
Yamaha.
Yeah,
I like how you say
Nice.
it, Johnny.
you know,
It's like a
Steven,
question. There was a question mark in that.
right?
Yamaha.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, I got to get rid of that. I go, no, I'm not getting rid of that. It's too good.
That's awesome.
But Steven, sometime again, I got to hear "Long Road Home." That song blew me away. I was telling you,
Oh, yeah.
it just blew me away, man. And you
Oh,
never
for
played
sure.
it for me, so you
Yeah,
don't need to
man.
play it tonight. I'm just telling you, I want to hear it again.
Yeah.
Nancy wants to hear it.
Yeah, that's a good little song. I wrote that one, and I was telling you in Nashville when I had kind of moved down there for 18 months, and I was getting sober and going through a bunch of transitions, and that song came out. But let me play a little. I know this is a lot of people have covered this, but I sang it a little bit. I was thinking about the Dylan songs and Knocking on Heaven's Door and Masters of War. Kind of, I like the spiritual theme Dylan when he really dove into that, and I like his storytelling. I like his, all his classic stuff. But man, he has some amazing melodies too. This is one of them. Mama, take this badge off of me. And I can't use it anymore. And it's getting dark, too dark to see. Feel like I'm knocking on heaven's door. Yeah, knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Oh, yeah. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Mama put my guns in the ground. And I can't shoot them anymore. Yeah, that long black cloud is coming down. Yeah, I feel like I'm knocking on heaven's door. Yeah, yeah. And knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Just feels good to sing that one, man. That's a classic melody, dude.
Pat,
Nice.
You've heard that one, Johnny, right?
Oh, of course.
But there was about a 15-year span from, I would say, 25 to about now, maybe a little bit earlier, but there was this definitely 10, 15-year span where every year there was like, Dylan wrote that one. There would be some artist I love, and they would sing a song, and I would look and it'd look up, and it would be like, oh, Dylan wrote that one too. Oh, he wrote this one. Forever Young was one of those. I was like, he wrote that. Anyways, every year for about 10 years, there was a new Dylan song I would come across. And then, they did, I don't know if you saw that documentary, Eric, about, what's the guy's name? That producer down in, I'm going to forget his name. But anyways, they took all all these lyrics that he had just typed up, and they had found them in this drawer.
Yeah.
Like the 66 tapes. I don't forget what it was, but he went off and he wrote all this stuff, and they just found him. And so they got Mumford and Sons, and
Really? Oh, yeah.
they got about 4 or 5 artists I love, and they just all got together in a studio and they produced these new songs. This was about 4 or 5 years ago. They produced all these new songs based off his old writings from whenever that was, that summer where he just became a recluse and disappeared for a minute. But what's that producer's name? That's going to drive me crazy. I'm such a fan of his.
T-Bone Burnett.
T-Bone Burnett. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. T-Bone. So anyways.
There's an endless trove. And I think, you were talking about that he just keeps writing. That's the thing I know about you. You got to keep writing. I know that it's not a discipline for you. It's something that you just have to do. And I was, when we were talking about Christofferson the other day, he just had that muse, and it went and it went and it went, and he didn't use it.
Right.
He was partying and having fun. It was time to put out an album. He literally, in an interview, he said, I'd sit down on a Sunday afternoon, I'd write 12 songs, and we'd go in the studio on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we'd record them. And I'd wait every 6 months. And he goes, and I don't, Chris, I don't know if you're listening, I love you, but you haven't written a good song in 4 years, man. I mean, you lost the muse, you didn't use it.
Yeah.
And obviously we're not compelled to. What do you think of that, Stephen? I mean, Dylan's compelled to, you're compelled to. He obviously wasn't compelled to, but he had everything that he needed.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird, man. Some days, I could go 7-8 months up to a year without writing, and I live a while. I tell people you got to breathe in, and then all of a sudden a rush will come, like 10 or 12. Like last summer, Flipside got together and we had 12 songs in a week. I'm trying to be more disciplined about it now. I've written a few more songs, but I'm going to write as long as I'm inspired to write, and as long as I feel like I have something to say. And I may hit later in life, and I'm just like, I've said everything I've needed to say and stop writing. And I don't think I hope that doesn't happen. I don't think that'll ever happen. I'll always even write, whether it's like a meditative exercise just for me. Some of my best moments. I think there's a difference.
I mean, you're still compelled. Okay, even with the gaps, you're still compelled.
Absolutely.
He was transactional.
Right.
And I don't know anybody that transactional who's ever been able to produce that much good art.
Yeah, I'm going to do it regardless if I'm making money at it. It's a part of my life where it's definitely been my longest relationship. It's been my longest successful relationship, Eric. This guitar and music, everything else is.
That's a whole different show.
I know, that's a whole different show. Anyways, that's a good. But I don't know. What you got going, Johnny? Is there anything you want to add or say or hang out before we wrap it up and see you next week? Or
we've got a question here.
Okay.
Jennifer Williams, would you be so kind to please play a few lines from Forever Young? Steve, you are so talented.
Let me look up. Hold on. If you guys talk for a second, maybe I can Google it real quick and just see the opening. I got to have the first line. But yeah, I think I could do it.
I'm hoping you guys stay forever young. I think you're headed that way. I've already lost that bet.
So Eric, where are you? Where are you right now?
I'm in Evergreen, Colorado. It's a spectacular day. The mountains are shimmering and green and beautiful. Stephen and I live in a beautiful town.
Yes.
Nice. I'm in Santa Cruz.
Another nice spot.
Yeah, the beach, that's pretty nice too. I love the beach.
I love the water. Mm-hmm. And Stephen loves the water, don't you, bud?
Oh, my goodness. I would love to be able to spend a month out of the year down just in the Pacific or in the Gulf or somewhere nice and blue. But I'll go there soon enough.
If you dream big enough, someday you can go to Iowa.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely coming next summer.
You gotta dream really big though for that. Santa Cruz is fine, Pacific is fine, but you want to aim high.
Tell Johnny about that gig, the cool little spot near the lake that people would.
Oh, the Surf Ballroom.
Yeah, tell him about that gig, that venue.
Yeah, so the Surf Ballroom is the last place that Buddy Holly played. He crashed a few miles north of there. And it's an absolutely wonderful. It's one of the old big band ballrooms, and it came into the rock and roll era just fine. And that night, 1959, it was a rough night. The music died. There's a lot to it there. It's a great place to visit. A very, very good friend of mine does an outstanding job of keeping that place going. There's generous people down that keep it going. And
that's awesome.
My whole life, I've seen bands who are going from Minneapolis to Denver, and on Tuesday night we get to see them because they want to play.
the Surf Ballroom, and it's been,
That's so
it's been a
cool.
rich life of incredible musicians.
Hmm.
I love historical venues that just have had a rich history because they're dying off. You know, we were talking, I think, last show about, you know, Bottom of the Hill and some of our favorite Bay Area places that are like no longer, no more. So
Well,
it's
you know,
good to see, you know, things hang on. I'm a big fan of supporting your local artists, venues, that kind of deal.
so the Rock Hall started a deal, I'm going to say within the last 10 years, naming places like the Whiskey A Go Go and the Troubadour, these sorts of things, just iconic. And the Surf Ballroom was inducted into that on the 50th anniversary of Buddy Holly's death, and
Oh, wow.
it was a massive. It was a 4-night stand. Sorry you guys missed it. Everybody played. Graham Nash said, talking with him, he's going. He pulls his ticket out, seeing Buddy Holly in Wembley Stadium, 1957. He goes, I've lost houses, I've lost wives, I have never
I love it.
and he said, the second I heard we're doing the 50th anniversary, I said, you clear whatever we're doing. And he came and he played for the week.
That's so cool.
And on and on. I mean, there's a long list of
Yeah.
incredible
But
musicians.
living history.
Yeah,
Let me
absolutely.
sing a little bit for Jennifer. It was Jennifer Williams was her name.
Hmm.
What up, Jennifer? Where you at, girl? I'm gonna sing a little bit for you, see if I get it. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous. Stand up and be strong. May you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. May you fly across the door. May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and others do for you. May you be a ladder to the stars. Climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. Hey, may you stay forever young. Just great words, man. What are just great lyrics. Oh my gosh, those are just beautiful.
Great request, Jennifer.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. See the lights. Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah, she's writing them down a little bit. There you go. I dedicate that to you guys, anybody watching. And I think I love that. May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung, and may you stay forever young. It's about as, hey, I wish I wrote it. That's a beautiful sentiment, though. I mean, that's another timeless lyric that, I mean, you'd want to sing that over your children. You'd want to sing that for your best friend, your wife, you know, even, you know, our country needs more of that right now. I think during all these crazy times, we just need to slow down and be patient and be kind and try to wish the best for each other, no matter if they think or believe exactly the way we think or believe, but say, hey, we're going to get through it. It's going to be all right. So
I'm thinking
anyway.
you actually did write that song. You thought it, but you forgot to write it down. And so
Right. It's just right in my back pocket and it circled back around. Anyways, well, we're hitting almost 30 minutes, guys. Again, we do this every Monday. It's going to be 5 o'clock Pacific. We're going to get on. We're going to sing some songs. We're going to talk about some of our favorite artists that have inspired us. I'm usually going to have a guest on. Thanks to Eric for showing up and hanging out. God bless you, brother.
lots of fun.
Yeah.
Love you.
And Johnny's just going to be my sidekick. How are you going to hang in for a couple more weeks, Johnny? You down to kick it with me?
Oh, of course, man. Yeah, this is awesome.
I need to get the audio and the voice down. Right. Hey guys, yeah, it's very soothing, Johnny. I want your voice. You got the podcast radio voice, bro.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I've been doing this for a little while, so
It's great. Johnny, it's nice being with you.
It's a good time. Yeah, Eric, great to meet you, man.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't checked out the new single, Flipside, Into the Deep, go check it, share it,
So
love
good.
it, like it. Yeah, and repeat.
So good.
So, all right, guys, we'll see you next Monday, and stay safe. Till then. Peace.